Hey guys, Deronda here with Foods 101. Today I'm going to show you how to make this butternut squash soup with 4 ingredients. So healthy for you, yet so delicious. The ingredients you're going to need is a medium-sized apple. It can be a Gala or an apple crisp or Fuji. 1 2.5 to 3 pounds of butternut squash. 2 large carrots. I've peeled it and I've removed the ends there of the carrot. And 1 medium-sized onion. I had a large onion, so I'm just going to use half of this. I'm going to show you how simple and easy this is to get together. First, we're going to take our carrots. We're just going to break them down into 1-inch pieces. Be careful when working with the knife, very important. We're going to add this to a 4-quart Dutch oven or heavy saucepan, just like that, with our onion. This is a large onion, like I said, so I'm just going to slice it in half. I'm going to reserve 1/2 for later in my cooking. But for this butternut squash soup recipe, we're going to use half this onion. We want to remove the ends and remove the outer layer of the onion till it's nice and skin-free. And with your knife, flat side down of the onion, we're going to slice it in half. And we're just going to cube it. Then we're going to add this into our Dutch oven. Now, if you don't have a Dutch oven, you can use a heavy bottom saucepan. For the butternut squash, I'm going to set my water off to the side. Remove the top. And we can discard that. Ooh, look how pretty that orangey color is. And we're going to remove the bottom. Just a little bit, not much, just until you get that end removed. Where the neck meets the bottom of our squash, we're going to cut it in half. And remember, be very, very careful when working with a knife. Very important. And we're going to go flat side down, and I'm going to show you how to peel it. We're going to take our knife, and we're going to run between the skin and the squash itself until you get all the skin removed there from your squash. Now that we've got the skin removed, oh, and I love that orangey color and it smells so good, we're going to just take our chef's knife and cut it in half. Okay, no seeds in the neck part of this butternut squash. Then we're going to lie it flat and move the peel away. Slice. Flat side of your squash down always so it won't roll around. We're going to turn it, and we're just going to make cubes of our butternut squash. Look how beautiful that is. And we're going to add this into our Dutch oven or heavy bottom saucepan. You're going to do the same with the other half. Remember, always work with flat side down. That way it's not going to roll around on you. And like always, be very careful when working with a knife. So important. And back in with the remaining butternut squash, onions, and carrots. Now, for this part, again, we're starting flat side down, and we're going to cut this in half. This is going to be a little bit different when we cut this in half because you're going to have seeds. Use a spoon and remove the seeds and the membrane of the squash. Very easy to do. Have fun doing it. Take your time. Get your kids in the kitchen. Teach them how to eat healthy and fresh. We're going to remove the skin from this part. Same as we did to the neck of the butternut squash. Flat side down again. We're just going to cut it into cubes. Turn it sideways. You can lie them down for it to be a little safer. It doesn't need to be perfect. But again, we'll just cut it into cubes. Add this to your Dutch oven. The apple, I'm using a paring knife. And we're going to remove the skin of the apple. Now that we've got our apple peeled, I'm going to come back with that chef's knife. And I'm going to quarter the apple. Paring knife again. I'm going to remove the ends. And I'm going to remove the center. Okay, you're going to do it to all quarters of your apple. Cut them, the quarters in half again, and then in half. You don't need to just large chunks of apple. You're wondering, why are we adding apple? We add the apple because this gives a little sweetness to our butternut squash along with the carrots, and the onions will give it a really savory flavor. So in with the apples, and that's it. Then we're going to add water, fresh water, until it covers the top of our squash, our apples, our onions by about 1 inch. This is off to the stovetop on medium-high heat until it comes to a boil. Don't add any salt at this time because it'll make your vegetables and squash a little tough, and we want it as tender as we can get it. Now that your soup comes to a roaring boil, we're going to turn it down to medium-high. Give it a little stirring, and you can use a spoon to skim off the top. This is just proteins being released from the vegetables, and discard it. Continue cooking your vegetables for the next 30 to 45 minutes or until your vegetables are super tender. And once I remove the protein around the edge here, I just rinse that off under cool running tap water. I'm going to turn off my timer. I cooked mine for 40 minutes. Going to give it a lovely little stirring, and that butternut squash looks completely tender the way we're looking for it. Let's go over here and find some butternut squash. You see, fork tender is what you're wanting. You see how it's just falling apart? That's what you're looking for. Turn off my heat, drag it to the back burner, and let it cool off for a little bit before we add it to the blender. Adding your vegetables right into a blender using a ladle. I've got half my vegetables and liquid added. We're going to add the top. We're going to go down here, turn it on, and we're going to puree. Puree for about 2 minutes. 2 minutes are up. Let's turn it off. And let's see what this looks like. Oh, it's so steamy. Now is the time to check for flavor. And we'll see if it needs any salt. Sometimes I've made this and it really doesn't need any salt or pepper at all. Wow. Lovely. Creamy. Really delicious. But I think I'm going to just add maybe a ½ teaspoon of salt and a little bit of white pepper. But if you have black pepper, you may use that too. And then I'm going to continue adding the remaining vegetables and liquid. Put it on. Add your pureed butternut squash soup into its pot. Heat over medium-low heat and serve. Soup's on. Butternut squash soup. So healthy and delicious. Serve it with a dollop of sour cream along with a little sprig of parsley. Gotta give it a try. Get a little bit of that sour cream on there. Silky, smooth, just perfectly seasoned, perfectly pureed. You're not gonna go wrong with this seasonal butternut squash soup. I'm Deronda with Foods 101. Give me a thumbs up, leave me a comment, hit that notification bell to be the first to get my new YouTube food videos. Thanks a million for watching, you all. Stay safe, and I'll catch you lovely people later.